Hey guys, how's it going? Dexter here, and today I have a lesson for you on what I like to call an advanced pick and mix groove. Names. Right, anyway, so let's have a look. So I've called this a pick and mix groove because we've got some fairly interesting bits and bobs going on. I've kind of picked a couple of little things out of some of my favourite little concepts, and I've kind of stuck them into a groove that's going to challenge you guys. I've called it advanced, so that's always a risky word because everyone goes like, I found it easy. This is not advanced, and it's like, yeah, some guys may find this easy, okay, but for the most part, you guys are going to find this kind of fairly technical, and it's got some tough stuff in here. But these are kind of key things that I kind of point out to my students to try and learn, and I kind of put them into one groove. So this is maybe one groove that you try and have a go at, and you'll get part of it, but there may just be like one thing that you don't quite get, or a couple of other things that you don't quite get, and you try and work it in over a period of time. So you could just take the kind of easy parts of this groove, so even if you're not playing drums a while, try and play this, okay, and have a go. You can do some of the kind of the bell parts that I'm going to kind of show you guys. And then as you're more advanced and as you feel like you're a better drummer, you can try and put the kick pattern, you can try and put the ghost notes in, and then finally the left foot, which is the absolute nightmare for people. So it's, let me break it down. We'll go from the kind of easiest part of this groove, and we're going to add a couple of little concepts to it to make it tricky. By the end of it, you don't just have a cool groove. It's kind of like if you eat like an apple, you get the nutrients from it, okay? So that's what you're trying to do with this groove. You're going to consume this groove, learn this groove, and it's the stuff that you get from it that's important, and that's what we're going to be working on. So, right, let's have a little look at here, see what we've got. The first part we're going to be doing is probably the most kind of iconic part of this groove is the bell of the ride. So you're going to be playing on the bell of the ride, so shoulder your stick hitting the bell, and then you're going to be playing two little taps towards the edge of the cymbal with the tip of your stick. So it's shoulder of the stick and then two little taps. And we're going to be playing that rhythm. It's going to be 1 and a 2 and a 3. And so the bell's on the number, so on the quarter note, 1 and then and a 2 and a 3. For those of you guys that aren't into the traditional way of counting and you much prefer my stupid way of counting, it's stupid but it works, it's strawberry, strawberry, strawberry. Isn't that cooler? And slightly stupider and dafter and makes you look foolish if you were to say it. You see these guys on stage and they're looking really cool when actually in their head they're going, strawberry, strawberry, coconut pie. So it's, they look cool, but in their head they're doing these things. Maybe not always, maybe I am. So you got 1 and a 2 and a strawberry, 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 strawberry. So that's worth getting down anyway. Now trying to get that quick, I'm going to come to the groove in a minute. There's a lot just to get from this. Trying to get that quick using your full arm to kind of push in and get that bell. And then you've got to wind your arm up again to play that bell. So those of you guys that have come across the molar technique, it's basically this kind of bringing the arm up. You can get very kind of technical with the molar, but for now you're bringing your arm up to hit that accent every time. And on your way up, you're trying to get those two little notes. You've got 1 and a. You can see me lifting my arm up and a. And then you've got the next bell in there as well. So that's what we're trying to get in gradually. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And then you speed it up. You get into a nice kind of smooth motion as you try and get into that. So that's just the bell pattern. And then you can try and fit a groove within that. First thing, still fairly basic this stuff, but try and work it in. You're going to play a bass drum with that first bell. And then you've got your two taps. And then you're going to play a snare with the second bell. And then the two taps. So you've got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... And there we go. So that's the kind of bass groove that we're going to be building on just here. And then, yeah, there's more. There's more. So we've then got some ghost notes that are coming in. So this is the next thing I'd like you to do. And I love doing this kind of thing. So you can see we're playing a 1 and a 2 and a 3 on the ride just there. But there's also some space for ghost notes, so where you've got a little gap. So 1 E and a 2 E and a E. I look daft. Anyway, but it's that E is where you're going to put that ghost note. And remember, a ghost note is just a very small, quiet note. So, very small. And then you've got your accent there. So you're going the bell, then you've got your ghost note, and then the two taps with your right hand. So you've got right, left, right, right. And then it repeats. So you're just doing a strawberry, strawberry. But in that little gap in there, 1 E and a 2 E and that's where you're going to put your ghost note. If you're not on your drums, you can even just try this on your knees. Right, left, right, 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 left, right, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Or 1 E and a 2 E. don't know why I have to say E like that. I could 1E and a 2E and sound normal, but I like to go 1E and it sticks in your brain better. So maybe it's a teacher thing. I don't know. So you can see we're just trying to stick that little ghost note in that gap there just to fill out the groove a bit. And then we're going to put the bass and the snare back. Ouch! Because we've got the ghost notes, but then we've also got a snare, the backbeat in there that we're going to be playing, which is then followed by a ghost note. So this is where it gets a bit more technical. If you guys are struggling to figure this out in your brain, $1 on my Patreon page gives you access to all of my PDFs, and this PDF is on there. Just helps you see it a bit more visually. Even if you don't read drum notation or don't think you do, it's not that hard. You'll be able to just follow along and see the shapes, and it gives you an idea of how this kind of comes together. So have a go with that if you're struggling. But for now, you can try follow along. You have one, so bass drum on the first beat, 1, E, and that's the first beat. 1, E, and and then we've got 2, this is where it gets tricky. We've got the bell and the snare drum accent together, so this is your backbeat, followed by your ghost note, and then your 2 little notes on the right. So 1 E and a 2 E and a. Can't remember. So the tricky thing there on beat 2 is you've got hands together, ride and snare drum together loud, followed by a very quiet ghost note. What you don't want is this. You don't want that loud snare drum. You want it to be loud, followed by a ghost note. So try and just practice that on its own. Okay, and it is quiet. Don't try and go. You don't want this volume and this volume. You want this volume and this volume. It's so subtle, those ghost notes, but they fill out the groove. There's no ghost notes, and then we're going to do it with ghost notes. So no ghost notes first. Then ghost notes. You ready? Subtle. So it's just that. Just adds that little bit extra funkiness to it, which we're trying to get in. And again, like I say, you're trying to get the nutrients from this groove. That little thing there, you'll start working it into any other groove. You're playing a groove and you'll be like, here's a gap there, I'm going to fill it out with a ghost note. So just to kind of chunk it up a little bit, chunk it up, that's not a technical term, but it's going to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's the ghost note. Right, next step, I'm going to add one more bass drum, just to make it that bit more tricky, and then I'm going to bring in the dreaded left foot, which is coming in a strange place. You guys are going to love this. If you're still following along, and you're right, your drum kit, you're like, I've got it, Dex, I can do this bit. So on to the next thing. This is a little tougher, but we're going to add an extra skippy bass drum right on the very last note of the groove. So we have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and bass drum on the very last note along with the second tap. So again, just on the beat 4, this is going to be, we've got 4 E and we've got the bass drum, and then onto the bell to start the groove again. We've got another bass drum with the bell. So we've got 4 E and 1 starts the groove again. So I'm going to play it up to now, trying not to do the left foot. My left foot, because I've done this groove for a long time, I naturally try and put the left foot thing in there, so I'm going to ignore that for now. I'm actually going to take my foot off. I'm going to have this. So here's the groove without the left foot, which we'll bring in next. Just that nasty bass drum. Keep an eye out for it. So you see that ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. I don't know why I'm beatboxing it. It's not even beatboxing, just grunting. But you can see that bass drum coming in. Boom. So if I take out everything other than the bass and the snare, I'm going to take ghost notes out as well, just the backbeat. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to put the ghost notes in now, so still no right hand. That's it without the right hand. Still sounds funky. Put the right hand in. Are you having fun yet? Probably not. But this is going to make you better. This makes you have way more fun in the future. That's it. And then, so that's our groove. And then, the Holy Grail. Just a small thing. Try and get that left foot in your playing. If you've not tried putting your left foot in your playing in the past, good time to try and get it in now, along with this groove. There's a lot of complicated stuff going on here, so if you're finding it tricky, maybe just work on trying to get some left foot stuff in your groove. I've got loads of lessons out there with that. Try and get that into your playing first, and then you can gradually build into this groove that we've got going on here. So if you feel that you want to be super comfortable with that groove before you put your left foot in, but I'm going to show you where to put it. It's going to go on every offbeat, basically, every and. So if we're going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, the left foot is going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a and. So just on the and of the groove. Put it in, it's going to sound like this. I'll do it slowly first, and then I'm going to break down exactly how to fit it in. We have. So you can see it as 1 and a 2. It's a subtle thing, but it's tough, but it really adds something to your playing. You're probably thinking, it doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm not going to give it a go. That's not the point. That's not the point. What you're trying to do here is you're pushing yourself. This is a four-way coordination groove. Everything's going here. You're learning it because later on there's going to be places you want to put your left foot. There are louder things you can do with your left foot to make it more obvious. We're not doing them on this one, but just that simple and just that extra bit. You're stretching your brain. It's like you're working a muscle and making it stronger. You're stretching your independence, and that's going to just makes the whole job easier. Sat down at your drum kit if you're not having to worry about your independence. If it's just second nature, you might be playing a groove one day in a band or playing along with a song. You just go like, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go, ooh, yeah, ooh. Yeah, I'm going to have that along with groove. And it just adds a little bit to it. When you're doing a drum solo. See how that just keeps time and makes it a little funkier. So that's what's occurring there. And it's, let's have a look. So putting it all together then, it's just going on. If I try and put it with with the right hand, you've got 1 and, so it's with that tap every time. So 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So it's more like a kind of jazz thing. 1 and a 2, but it's not jazz. 1. So you can see that's where it's going to fit in. And then it's trying to put it with the rest of the groove. So it's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and 4 E and a. And then you've got your bass drum in there. Oh, this is horrible trying to do that slow. Anyway, but take it one part at a time. Again, if you're following along with the sheet music, it does make it easier. So you've got beat 1, beat 2, 3, and 4. Split it into 4 parts. Get them comfortable. Put it all together. Bada bing, bada boom. You're all good. Okay, and then I'm going to, as always, put this into a short. So I'm going to make it a really short solo because I've got a lot of content in this lesson. I'm going to start showing you where you can put this. As always, I say this for everything. You've not mastered a groove until you're able to get out of the groove, do a fill, and then get back into it. This is the tough one, okay? You've probably already got enough under your belt just trying to play the groove. But then, trying to get out of it, freely improvise, put crash cymbals with it, and get back into this groove. Let's give it a go. Yeah, I hit the mic. There we go. I also realised I did this entire lesson without my shoes on. That's not professionalism. But anyway, right. Have some fun with that one, guys. I say do have some fun, slightly torturous, but it's going to make you a better drummer. You go through the hard way. It's like exercise. You probably think, I don't like exercise. It's not fun. Okay, exercise is bad for me. Okay, it's not bad for you, but it's good for you. But yeah, you have to go through the hard stuff to get into the good stuff. So that's what's going on here. You're going through some hard exercise. This is going to be tough on the brain, tough on the body, especially that right-hand thing when you try and get it faster. But man, you're going to come out of it a better drummer. That's the whole point of it. So have some fun with that one, guys. And again, if you've watched this video thinking, groove's easy, you're not sat at your drum kit, are you? Give it a go. And again, sheet music's on my Patreon page, $1 to access to that. And also, you can sign up for the exclusive content side of my Patreon stuff, which gives you access to, I've got a couple of studio tours on there, some backing tracks. What else have I got on there? I've got a lesson course on Ghost Notes. So a few things on there that you can get into if you want some kind of deeper extra content. And again, get in touch with any questions and leave a comment below. And please subscribe if you're new and check me out on Instagram and Facebook and you know how I feel about these end things. Right, anyway, have a good one, guys, and I shall see you for the next lesson later.